As a teacher, you do this every day, right? Okay, here we go. Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now it went kind of wacko on me. Oh. Okay, I gotta go over here and hit another button. It went crazy. Yeah? Did it go on? I don't know what happened.
No. Oh,
There. Okay, I got it. Thank you. All right, sorry. Technology. All right. So I would entertain a motion for the consent items, and if you look at the handout here, the consent items include the agenda, a quorum, the general meeting minutes, which are available through our secretary, Janice Batts, if you would like to see those, the treasurer's report, and a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, so there's the treasurer's report. Ted Pearl made the motion. Louise Adler seconded it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? On we go. Okay, so let's see. I have a few announcements. Well, I guess I really should comment on the Treasury report, which is just a basic outline, and you can see how important our membership is and how important our fundraising team is. We don't have any products. You know, we're not a business. So we make money by all of the great ideas that our fundraising team have, and we make money by all of you becoming members. And then what do we do with the money? Well, one thing is we pay for our facilities. Beyond that, we give it to candidates once we get down the line and we support that. So the more money that we have, and we know how that goes, right? That's a big game in candidates being able to win. So the more money we have, the more that we can be contributing members to the candidates. Okay, so my report, before this is coming, is just to announce that this is a public forum, but is a limited forum where access is restricted to club members, just to make sure that people understand in terms of what we're doing here. Okay, now I would like to give a huge thank you to Melora and Louise. If you'll please stand up for chairing. Louise on technology over here. We couldn't do it without that. And Melora on microphone. So thank you very, very much. I heard nothing but wonderful things about how the meeting went. And we're still jam-packed, so it must have been okay because you're back for more. Okay, now June is Pride Month. So as it says on the agenda and up here, there's a big event coming up in Mission Viejo. It will be at Saddleback College, and it will be June 21 from noon until 4 o'clock. So let's get out there and support that endeavor, because I don't know why, but it's still a controversial thing around here. We still get pushback from the city on it, and now they've moved over to Saddleback, so we have to keep at it, and we have to keep at it and make it a norm. Okay, now let's get on to the King's Day Rally. Okay. I was going to ask if anyone happened to attend in here, but I guess you did, didn't you? Of course you did. We had thousands and thousands and thousands in the streets, thanks to all of you. And we're getting more and more important leaders who are coming out and denouncing and condemning all of the things that are going on with the federalization of the ICE, of the National Guard, the ICE raids, just the list goes on and on and on. So I don't know if anybody else saw in the LA Times today, there was a really good but short article about, are we at the turning point? You know, giving all of the things that Trump is up to. And there is a professor that deals with all of these things, with fascism, etc., Frederick Feinstein, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this was what he had to say. He says that history has shown that when anti-democratic attempts are met with institutional, which we're getting, and public resistance, which all of you did last weekend, right? They are less likely to succeed. Yes. So, organizing kind of has a pattern to it, has ebbs and flows. So we had a really huge crescendo this last weekend. So it's going to be incumbent upon us as we proceed to take a little bit of a rest here, regroup, but realize we're going to have to get at it again. It's not over, right? Yeah, good. I like that when I see all the heads going, yes, yes, yes. But, you know, sometimes, I mean, this is a long haul because we've been doing this for 6 months, guys. We have a ways to go, and we can do it. We can outdo the opposition. Okay, now Anita is going to come up and talk to us about our membership, which is growing by leaps and bounds. Oh, I forgot. I got going too fast. Sorry, I got too excited. Just to let you know that we are co-sponsoring the Democratic float that is going to be in Huntington Beach at the Huntington Beach July 4 parade. It's a huge parade, one of the biggest in the nation. And it also just happens to be one of the really contentious places for us right now. So we need to make sure that Dems are everywhere. So our club has contributed to that float, as are many of the other clubs in the area. Yes, thank you, yeah. Now, huge victory for librarians, for free speech, for education. And that was in Huntington Beach last week. Yes. Right. Yes, the library will stay in the hands of the county. The city's not going to take it over and be the big brother of it all. And yes, there will be no committee to censor the books and decide what should be there and what should not. Yeah. So good news and bad news about this Thursday. The good news is that Eric Swalwell will be here. Our representative won't be here. So Eric is stepping up, and it will be in this room, but I talked to Clarice Hoffman today, who is the chair of the Democratic Party, and all of the spaces are now taken. I know. So they did their best to make sure that people in Dem clubs got first nabs at it, and people in the 40th, because it's all about the 40th. We're going to get rid of Young Kim. Yes, Stacey. That's a good question. Let me see about that. Yeah, because we're still kind of doing some of the particulars on that. Okay, good point. Okay, Anita, where are you? And as Anita comes up here, the rest of, oh, yes. Okay, I have another announcement. Anita, come on up. A reminder that the Canyon Young Dems are up and going, and yay, all right. And it is focusing on folks that are in their like early 20s to early 40s. JJ is organizing another happy hour. It will be on Thursday, June 26th, 6 o'clock at Gamecraft. So if you do not fit that demographic, would you please tell your children and tell your grandchildren? Because it's a wonderful thing just to meet and talk to like-minded people. So it's not all about politics, it's about meeting people, finding out what they're doing, because it's kind of hard sometimes to meet new people, they're getting their new jobs and things like that. So thank you. Okay, Anita, you're up.
Thank you. Thank you, Janet. Okay, we got some announcements for membership, and it's time to celebrate, folks. I'm telling you, I can't believe it. So, new number. They're going to give me some numbers up here. Members are up, up, up. Okay. We have a total of, last week we had a total of 643, and up to date is 667 as of tonight, because we got 7 new members. So, yay! Time to celebrate. We also have some numbers here that we want to show you about the demographics of our membership, and I think they have that on film too. Okay, yeah, good. Okay. So some of these are Aliso Viejo. There's 6 members there. They say 9 now. Okay, they changed it on me. What can I say? Okay, these are by city, our members, which is great. We have a lot from Mission Viejo, which is our main grouping, right? But we have some that are need help, and we got work to do. One of them is the San Juan, San Clemente, Rancho Santa Margarita, 62. That's pretty low for that demographic as far as their population. So we have work to do here, and I just want you to be aware of that, the different cities that we want to get moving out more. And we don't, we're concentrating right now on Laguna Woods, Laguna Hills. We're concentrating on that demographic now, which is great, but we have to look at all of them. We want them all in our group. So just think about it. If you live in that city, we need you to, think about how we want to do that and come to us and tell us what your ideas are. So anyway, thank you. I'm so excited. We're growing, and our members are just so fun. I'm not kidding you. They have postcards to do. You could do postcards if you want to help out. The rallies, they're over there just waving their hands. I love it. And we do postcards, we do rallies, we do fundraisers. We have a new one coming up for fundraising, Ice Cream Social. We have a great group, and they really know what they're doing. So I really appreciate that. So I hope you guys are in it to win it too. Thank you.
Okay, while Ann Owens is coming up for our membership, I skipped over another thing. And Florice Hoffman had planned to be here this evening. However, with the added activity on Thursday, she's unable to make it, but she will be here. But we do have one other elected in the room, and that is Barbara Schulman, who is the school board member for Saddleback Valley Unified. She's in District 5, and we helped her get elected too. So we need to thank our candidates and continue to look for more.
Hello, so I'm the community outreach organizer, and my name's Ann Owens. I want to thank you all who brought things to donate to Wise Place tonight. I'm going to be dropping those off Friday morning to them. Next month, I know it seems like school has just stopped, right? But next month we're going to be doing a school collection for Families Forward. The list is a little longer than usual. I usually try to keep the list pretty short, but the biggies I would say would be the 17-inch backpacks that have a pocket in it that they can put like a Chromebook in. the binders, and I think the scientific calculators. Those are the things that I know high school kids really, I think the high school kids get a little overlooked sometimes because we see the cute little, you know, backpacks for the little kids. But the high school kids really need these items also. So we will be collecting those in July. I also am asking, so for those of you who are new, and there's a lot of, I could tell by the huge line at the guest table tonight, there's a lot of new people here. So every month we do a collection for a worthy nonprofit. And we try to spread that out throughout the year. And it's just our way of spreading our democratic norms and showing people who are less fortunate than we are, that we care about them. And in our small little way, we are trying to support them. I do have a request. I need a mentee. I need a assistant. I need a buddy that will help me with my job. I think all the groups actually, we've been decided on our board, need to have like a backup plan in case something happens to those people. So I am asking tonight if somebody would like to be my buddy, and they don't have to do much work because I've got the whole year planned out already for you. But I am not going to be here in July, so I need somebody to be here in July and collect these school supplies and drop them off at families for it that week. So if anybody here thinks that you would like, oh, okay, thank you. Job taken. Okay, so that is it. Thank you very much.
Okay, now up we have our chair for the field team, and lots have been going on, so tell us all about it, Louise.
Okay, so we wanted to focus on Laguna Hills because you saw our numbers in the previous reports were not as high as the other communities. So we had a like four-pronged approach, all right? And we did a, pardon? Okay, okay, thank you. So we did a four-pronged approach, and we had a rally, we had a party, and we did a lot of walking. We knocked on over 1,000 doors and talked to over 200 voters over there. Had a house party that had 42 people attended. More people RSVP'd and didn't make it. So I'm going to be meeting with Randy Lenartz tomorrow to kick off her work as the leader for Laguna Hills. At least she's starting it off. I don't know if she'll stay the whole time. But we have a coordinator for each of the communities on the field team. And so we're going to be working this summer on writing postcards. So the postcard ladies are over here on the side. Kelly Dolan, Justine White, and Annette Sanders, thank you for schlepping all the boxes in here and distributing them. So if you want to write postcards that we distribute to front doors, you can pick up a packet. There's, I think, 100 cards. 50, it's even easier. 50 cards, there's stickers, there's markers, and there's a suggested script. And you bring them to the next meeting, and they will eventually go on doors, okay? Right now, the communities, all the communities in addition to Laguna Hills are working on their own flyers, which will be ready for the fall. We are recruiting canvassers for the fall. So, I'm here with my basket again. There are half sheets where you can pick the community you think you would like to canvass, and I will then give this to the coordinator for each of those areas, and they will get in touch with you so that you're not like signing away your life, okay? This is just expressing your interest, and then we will have training for you. If you will be working with partners. How many of you in here walked in Laguna Hills? Okay, we did a survey of our walkers, and it was so positive. People wanted to talk to the walkers. One lady actually told our walker that she had stayed home that day because we had texted all of the people we were walking to in advance, thanks to our great communications team. And the lady stayed home so she would be sure to be there when our walker came to her door. I mean, how cool is that? You know, you can't get any better than that. Okay, so please, I'm gonna walk around and hand these out to anybody who's interested. You can fill it out and it will be over on the table where the postcards are. You just drop it in and then over the summer, somebody will be getting in touch with you, okay? Where's Barbara? Barbara wants to talk about voter registration.
Okay, while Barbara's coming up, I have a question for you, Louise.
Yes, ma'am.
If I wanted to do some walking in my own neighborhood, would that be something that I could do?
Yes, you could fill this out, please. Yes, we're going to be what my friend Linda May calls free-range walkers. Okay, so we will be identifying some critically important precincts. For example, in South Mission Viejo, where we want to re-elect our candidate, the only Democrat on the Mission Viejo City Council. And so definitely we're going to be sending people to walk that. But if you want to walk your own neighborhood, you can certainly do that. We're not going to stop you. We'll give you all the support we can, all the materials you want, everything.
Great. Okay, now we have Barbara Casillo, and she's going to talk to you about a program that's going on for voter registration and the importance of that.
Oh, you got it.
Okay, so when I spoke with you a couple of months ago, I mentioned that we needed to have events at high traffic areas. So what was the first high traffic area was our rally in Laguna Hills. And so that was kind of our experiment. And we actually registered 10 people that day. And another thing I mentioned last time is in trying to get our numbers up, we are trying to let people know that it would help us out if independents would re-register to Democrat. We're not forcing anybody, but you know, if they're on the edge, it would really help us out. And so then we next went to the rally this past Saturday over in Laguna Woods, which was kind of crazy. We had 6 people working it, and it wasn't enough. We could have probably used 10 or 15 people. We registered 15 people at that event. 6 people we converted from NPP, and we converted 3 Republicans. So we're going to keep trying to do those events. Now, next up, our next event is July 4th, which we do every year here in Mission Viejo. I still need a few people for that event. There's 2-hour shifts that start at 10 o'clock. And we'll be selling merchandise and registering people and informing people about the club. It's a fun event. So you can go to the newsletter and sign up, or just reach out to me tonight and I can fill you in on our open slots. And next, we have some events coming up here in August. We're going to be working with the DPOC to do the Orange County Fair, and that's kind of fun. You get a free ticket to the fair if you work it. Saddleback College is starting, and they have orientation, so we'll be going over there for a couple of days. And also, I just got this new one. For you who live in Mission Viejo, you're probably familiar with the Symphony in the Park. And before the symphony, they have 3 hours called Prelude in the Park, where they have booths. And we were fortunate enough to get a booth this year. And last time I mentioned about trying to find locations where we could do voter registration. And this symphony in the park this prelude in the park is a perfect location, a perfect event. If you can go to the next slide. Because it's high traffic. The city will be providing the booth and the table and chair setup. They've got a lot of different activities. It's an annual event, so it's something we'll be able to go do year after year, and they're not really charging us a fee. So keep your eye out. Go to the next one. These are the kind of the target cities. So we have a lot in Mission Viejo, but these are the cities that fall within Congressional District 40. And so we want to try to expand our registrations into these areas and this ethnic population. I'm sure there are events that they have where we could do registration. So keep your eye out for those kind of things. And just, I'd like to throw out statistics. I think last time I mentioned that in our Congressional District 40, we have a 5.4% disadvantage in registration. So I wanted to compare it to the other candidates that are close to us. So Derek Tran, he actually only won by 685 votes, but he has a Democratic advantage of 3.2%. That's because he picks up a little bit of Los Angeles. Then Dave Min, he's all Orange County, so he's about 50-50. And Mike Levin, he picks up some of San Diego, so that gives him an advantage. Now, the thing is, these other three, they all got funding from the DCCC. We didn't get funding. So this is one of the reasons we have to improve our numbers. Young Kim has a lot of money, and our candidate's going to need a lot of money to win next year. Improve our chances to win and track quality candidates, get funding from the DCCC. And then action items going forward. Keep an eye out for community events, spread the word about re-registering as a Democrat, and all they have to do is go to ocvote.gov to re-register. And I didn't print that activity form, so I'll get those next month. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Barbara. That was great. Yeah, because my hands are full.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now, oh no, you just let's leave it, yeah, just,
Okay.
yeah. Thank you, that was really good info. And now we are here for our fundraising team. They're the ones that make all the money for us.
Speaking of making money, here we are. Hello, Canyon Dems and new friends. We're so glad you're here. Look at this amazing group. I'm so excited. This is wonderful, wonderful. Okay, what are we doing? We have a sustaining donor program. It's the brainchild of our wonderful Walt Lawson. And what it is a way for those of you who have a little extra money to give every month to give it to us. So if you can afford to do more than just your membership, you can go on the website and donate an extra $5 or $10 or $100, whatever you can give a month. And it will sign up, and all you have to do is sign up once and it just goes. So it's a really easy way to do that. And we have right now about 81 people who have agreed to do that. And we have raised so far this year, $7,797. Yeah. So we're gonna go over $10,000 this year, which is really good news. And we have a party every year for those people. One time we were able to go and hang out with donkeys, which was really cool. You have no idea how cute those little miniature donkeys are. We got our pictures taken. We're such Democrats. What can I say? Okay, so we're thankful Now, at the end of the month, we've got our annual ice cream social. This is a really fun event. Bring your kids, bring your grandkids, your great-grandkids, bring the neighbors' kids, bring everybody. Anyway, it's not expensive. If you're a big kid, it's gonna be $20. If you've got a little kid or actual kid, $10. And we're gonna have ice cream and all the fixins. There's like 2 tables full of stuff you can put on ice cream. So come, get your diabetic fix, you know, your sugar coma. We're happy to help you with that. And it's at the end of the month. It's right here at the Murray Center, but we're going to be out on the patio where we always are. And it'll be from 2 to 3:30. And you can go online and sign up for that. And what's next? Not me. Okay, so
On the agenda. The candidate meet and greet is on the agenda.
oh, the meet and greet, yes, on the agenda, our candidate meet and greet. We're gonna find all the people who are running, and there are way too many of them, but everybody who's running for the 40th right now, we're gonna meet them and greet them. I've already reached out to 6, and 3 of them have already responded that they'll be here, so we're halfway there. That's gonna be on July 30th, from 7 to 11, again, here at the Norman Murray Center, and again, it'll be out on the patio where we always have our nice events. And there will be booze and food. So if you weren't interested in coming and meeting the candidates, just come and have a drink with us. Okay, now, thank you for all your help with our opportunity drawing today. We're gonna draw tickets, and some people are going to the coach house. Okay, this is for Gary Hoey, who I understand is an incredible guitarist. So somebody will love to come and
Get
see
your
him.
numbers out.
Get your numbers ready, it's red, upside down. 805-400. 805-400. Anyone? There it is, Dina in the back, yay!
I got you, Dina.
We got her, okay. Next is for, you keep moving it and I can't read it when it's moving.
There.
Venice, an American pop quartet, the California band, they have a new album. Very cool. That'd be pretty good to get an album deal. My husband and I met in a band. We tried to get an album deal. Didn't happen. Oh, I got 2. Wait.
Side information there.
Well, you know, I got to keep talking while I'm trying to pick a ticket. 805-810. 805-810. I should have taken the one that I gave up. 805-810, going one. Oh, there it is, okay. Next is Bobby Gray. I've heard of Bobby Gray. Sometimes Coach House has new people that I don't know. This is a blue ticket. Ooh, get your blue ticket going. 948-236. 948-236, yay! I'm gonna take it.
Well, let's get these down.
All right, next is the very popular English Beat. They are really good. And I've got a ticket for them. And it is 805-402. 805-402. 805-402. It's Dina again. Wow. Okay, what's
And
left?
last, we got 2 tickets for the
Okay.
ice cream social.
Can we do them both at once? We just,
Tell them.
yeah.
Tell them.
Okay.
One and then the other.
Oh, you want to do, okay.
However we're gonna do it. Doesn't matter.
Okay, for the ice cream social, it's a blue one again, 948-250. 948-250. Yay! Okay, one more for a ticket to the ice cream social, red one again. 805-719. 805-719. 805-719. There it is, yay, okay. Thank you all so much. Please come to our events. We have a really good time, and we like to make lots and lots of money because we've got to get Democrats elected. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, and it's only 503 more days until the midterms are over. So mark your calendars.
All right, very good. So that's, so please continue to support the fundraising. And I noticed that at least one of our winners tonight, Jan, is a brand new attendee here tonight. Do we have any other new attendees here tonight that have never been to one of our meetings? Oh, all right, excellent. Woo, very nice, very nice. Thank you, thank you. Okay, up now is Andy Alexander, who's going to talk to us about what's going on in the community, and then we will have representatives from each of those areas.
Good evening. I'm here to talk to you about our community newsletter group. All of you should be getting our newsletter for your city. And could you raise your hand if you're getting that? Okay, all members will be getting a newsletter for your city, so look for it. I just wanted to let you know that there's another newsletter you can sign up for, and that's very important, your city's newsletter. They have very important information in the newsletter, activities that are going on, and also you need to sign up for the agendas, for the meeting agendas. It's very important to be informed about what the city's doing, and this is the perfect way to get that information. If you go to the city's website, you just sign up for the newsletter and agendas, and they come right into your mailbox. And it's the city council meeting agenda, the planning commission, the traffic commission, the community services commission. You pick which ones you want. You need to see the city council. That's the most important. The others are good, are just as important, but it's a lot of reading. And I don't want to burden you with too much when you're just getting started. So I want to, how many people are here from Lake Forest? Oh, wow. Okay. I just want to say that Lake Forest is working on their 5th affordable housing project. It's on Aspen and Muirlands. It's going to be called Aspen Court, and it's going to be approximately 50 units, and they'll be partnering with National Corps again, and that was who they partnered with for the Mountain View project that's across from the post office. That's a very successful venture. It's just turned, everybody in the neighborhood complained about it, and it's turned out to be a real boon for that neighborhood. It's really improved the neighborhood. I want to announce that this is for the Young at Heart Dems happy hour at Lucille's on El Toro Road on June 25th at 5 o'clock. You have to RSVP to me so that I can make sure we have enough room and make a reservation with Lucille's. This goes along with the newsletter from the city. Lake Forest is having a hazardous waste disposal at El Toro High School on June 28th from 8 to 4. That's for all of you. All of the cities can participate in that. And this is something that will show up in the newsletter, your city's newsletter, when you get it. Also, Lake Forest is doing a cultural fest at the Civic Center at 3 p.m., also on June 28th. And I wonder if ICE will be there. It's the second one, it's their second year, and it was so successful last time, they're doing it again. And so if you want to do that, feel free to come. It's open to everyone, not just Lake Forest residents. Okay, thank you so much.
And now Kathy Palmer is going to speak to us about Mission Viejo, and part of her presentation has to do with the QR code that is on here. So have a look at that in regards to her presentation.
Okay, and also this slide is wrong. If you want to send something to me, please use mv@canyondems.org, not my personal email address. Thank you. First of all, I want to shout out, how many of you went to the last city council meeting? How many of you watched it online? Couple people. I'm always really curious how many people really watched that. So we are up to 50 volunteer attendees, because there are people who have to be there, and they usually make up, in many city councils, the majority of the attendees. We are now outnumbering the people who have to be there, so congratulations. So there are just a couple things I want to draw your attention to. One of the most important things that your city council does is pass a budget. And budgets are where priorities are revealed. What I want to tell you about Mission Viejo is that we are going to experience an almost 9% cut to our library budget. So I spoke about this at the last meeting, and Councilmember Trish Kelly's reaction was to ask the library director, have you been lobbying community members to stand up for the library? Yeah. I have not been lobbied. I am not a paid protester. I stood up for the library because I believe in the library. And you can too. The final budget will be passed a week from today. Most likely, it's going to go through as written. They're probably not going to make any changes to it, but you need to be aware of what is going on. And if you start to experience a decline in library services that concerns you, make sure that the city council knows about it, because things happen gradually. With libraries, there are three things. There are services, there are resources, and there are personnel. We've lost 5 personnel from the Mission Viejo Library to Irvine because Irvine pays more than we do. So it becomes a death spiral. You don't have good people, you don't get good resources, you don't get good services. We cannot let that happen to our library. So please support the library. Make sure that Trish Kelly knows no one lobbied you to support the library, and use their services. And if you see things happening that concern you, let the city council know. The other thing I want to ask you about to do, if you look on the bottom of your agenda, there is a QR code. One of the things that Mission Viejo spent money on this year, $900,000, to install automatic license plate readers at 40 different locations throughout the city. That information is supposedly confidential and can only be accessed by authorized personnel. However, Cal Matters has found that that information is often shared with other entities. So basically what this QR code will take you to is a petition to create an oversight committee. It doesn't stop Flock from working, but what it does do is create a committee that will help make sure that the data that is collected is used correctly, is disposed of correctly, and is not used in an improper manner to harass or prosecute people. So 1 second with your phone and you can sign the QR code. Kristen? You do not have to live in Mission Viejo to sign this petition. We actually would love everybody to sign it. We really need everyone's help. Yes, and other cities have these cameras, so this would apply to other cities as well as Mission Viejo. Let's see, is there anything else? Nope, that's it. I do want to give a shout out to my other writer back there, Kristen Wilcox. She's really amped up the newsletter. So when I get these little messages that say, oh, this is so much fun, or oh, this is great, it's because Kristen wrote it. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. And now for Rancho Santa Margarita is Cindy Ashley.
Hello, everyone. I just want to shout out, I saw Amber, my neighbor and new friend here. Amber, could you stand up here? So Rancho Santa Margarita is one of 2 cities in Orange County that does not video stream. So Amber decides she's just going to come to city council and set up her camera right in and stream it. Oh, way to go. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Amber. Okay, so, you know, the community newsletters are trying to take the place of local news because we don't have local news coverage. And I'm just going to share a little thing that's going on in Rancho Santa Margarita, which, as I've shared before, is a city that just drove out the Boys and Girls Club because they wanted to be fiscally responsible and not spend $120,000 a year on the Boys and Girls Club. And there's lots of layers and details for this story of why RSM is paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to a Sacramento law firm in order to not pay a $37,000 invoice. But I'm trying and speak in like 3 minutes and not 30 minutes. I'm just going to give you the highlights here. So attorney Michelle Jackson, remember that name, she sent a letter to the city of RSM about 2 years ago to request that the city switch from at-large city council elections to district elections to comply with the California Voting Rights Act. So if you don't know, at-large elections mean that if you have 3 city council spots open, you vote for 3 candidates. But with the district elections, they're considered fairer because residents get to vote for a city council member who lives in their part of the town, which usually results in more diversity of representation. However, in city council members are the ones who get to select the district map. So in RSM, of course, they voted for a map that allows 3 of our current city members who live near the golf course to continue to run. But that's another story. Okay, so the city chose to comply with Ms. Jackson's request and move to district elections. And that did assist in electing a non-insider to city council last year, Carrie Barrett. By avoiding a lawsuit, the California Voting Rights Act provides that the attorney fees for the attorney bringing this matter forward be paid. And as previously mentioned, Ms. Jackson sent an invoice for about $37,000. The ACLU has sent a letter to the city saying that the city has no legal authority to deny payment. And rather than pay this, they're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars rather than pay the invoice. The city spent over $450,000 in the last fiscal year, which is up from $262,000 for fiscal year 22 to 23, due to accommodating ongoing litigation. That's a 70% increase, and they've budgeted the same amount for this coming year. And here's where it gets interesting. Michelle Jackson is married to Bill Braw, a former state assembly member who about 6 years proposed a bill that asked for an audit of the toll roads. And the toll road just doesn't collect tolls from us. It collects millions, like around $700 million from developers. In 2020, there was even a Orange County grand jury report on them and what a ripoff they are. And this, I'm going to quote from Ms. Jackson, what she wrote in an op-ed several years ago. When my husband began discussing this legislation, he was told by his then district director, Jennifer Beal, whose husband is Rancho Santa Margarita council member Tony Beal and our current mayor, and whose law firm has represented toll road and transportation authorities throughout the country, that he would be destroyed. This was stated to my husband in front of another elected official, end quote. And in fact, he was destroyed and he resigned in disgrace. So my question is Tony Beal, whose wife Jennifer warned attorney Michelle Jackson's husband not to pursue a toll road audit using city money to pay for attorney fees as part of a personal vendetta? I don't know what the reason could be, and the matter is only discussed in closed sessions, and we are kept in the dark. So the bottom line is that I want to encourage everyone here to read the city newsletters that the club puts out and show up, speak out, clap for those who do if you don't want to speak, or submit an e-comment. In RSM in particular, the city council members are emboldened to do whatever they like with our money because there's very little scrutiny. And if you have any questions about all this stuff, please email me at rsm@candydems.org.
Thank you, Cindy. Great. Okay, next up is for programs for Ted Pearl. and then Ted will introduce our speaker as well after that.
Can you hear me? Well, good evening, fellow Democrats. Remember one thing, we together are on the right side and bright side of history. And so we have a very good lineup coming in. In July, Ann Stone from League of Women Voters will more or less continue what Chris will speak about. He's going to speak about, of course, his experiences in Huntington Beach as an activist, dealing with the library, and my hat is off to Chris for being one of the people who was a factor in winning 2 votes that were absolutely necessary in Huntington Beach. And as a lifelong bookworm, the idea of a review committee that wants to whitewash, yes, whitewash every book in that library, that is just absolutely repugnant to me, and I'm sure to all of us in this room. So thank you to Chris before I introduce him. And in August, we have Jeff Perlman, who's on Substack, ex-sports writer for Sports Illustrated. Now on Substack, he is running a blog called Truth OC. He'll be talking to us about that. In September, we have the Smaller and Moodian show. We've heard Fred Smaller and Mike Moodian before, professors of governmental ethics at Chapman College. They, as you may remember, are responsible for Orange County's annual report. They'll be speaking to us about the state of the county. And tentatively for October, we are trying to land Mario Barnes, one of the professors at UCI Law School. He will be talking about race in Orange County. As a Black American, he has lived it. We have not, but he will give us some very valuable insights, hopefully. Again, we're still trying to get him, but I think we're looking very good for the next 3 months as far as programs go. And I just want to thank this club for its growth, its leadership, and getting people on the streets, knocking on doors, protesting, doing what we have to do. Because when we fight, damn right. So tonight, I'd like to introduce Chris Cluey, who made news, made good trouble by telling the Huntington Beach Council who they are and who they continue to be. Yes, in my estimation, they are fascists, they are Nazis, they are Holocaust deniers. I cannot stomach that, and neither can you. Chris stood up to them when it came to naming the library with an anagram for the orange schmuck. And he stood up for gay rights. He spoke up as an NFL player when speaking up for gay rights as an NFL player was very unpopular, to say the least. This is a man from Orange County, Los Alamitos High School, UCLA, one hell of a punter, great punter for the Vikings, but more than that, a good man, a committed man, a man of conscience, and our speaker tonight. I give you Chris Cluey.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Ted, thank you so much for the introduction. And then, Janet, I have to thank you for taking a lot of my speaking points earlier. I appreciate that. Also, who here helped volunteer for the HB ballot initiatives? Raise your hand if you helped volunteer. Awesome. Thank you so much. We could not have won those ballot initiatives without everyone that helped us. And I know it wasn't just people in Huntington Beach. And it was super important that we won those ballot initiatives because that is the right wing's game plan. They're coming after libraries with the intention that they want to make being an LGBTQ individual criminal. They want to legislate trans people out of existence, then they want to legislate the rest of the LGBTQ group out of existence, and then they're going to make it a crime to simply be who you are. And as an American, I am not okay with that. I don't think a lot of you are okay with that either. And so that's why when I saw what the Huntington Beach City Council is trying to do with this MAGA plaque at the library, I knew I had to say something. Because, so this was back in February, right, where things were just starting to pop off. I was waiting for one of my elected officials to do something about what was going on. You know, in the words of the late great John Lewis, cause some good trouble, right? None of my elected officials were doing anything. They were all just kind of like, well, what do we do? I'm like, go cause some good trouble. Like, go push past the Doge weenies. They're 5'3" and weigh like 100 pounds sopping wet. Go find out what they're doing with our Social Security information. Find out what they're doing with the Treasury Department. Unfortunately, that wasn't happening. And so when I saw the MAGA plaque at Huntington Beach being proposed on our city council, I was like, well, I can't ask other people to do something if I'm not willing to do it myself. So I decided to cause some good trouble. I got arrested in front of the Huntington Beach City Council for peaceful civil disobedience. Thank you, yes. Now, I'm happy to say it looks like that might be catching on as something Democrats want to do, because I don't know if any of you have seen the news recently, but our officials are now getting arrested for doing the right thing, and that's what we need. We need more of it. We need people in positions of power using that power to protect others that don't have power. Everyone here, you can see me. I am a tall, straight white man. Like, I have the world on easy mode. I am in a position of privilege. I am someone who has power. So if I don't speak up for someone else when they need that help, how can I ever expect someone to speak up for me? And that's something we need all of our elected officials to do. And we also need our elected officials to understand that we don't fight for things because they are popular. We don't fight for things because they poll well. We fight for things because they are the right thing to do. So if your elected official is, say, a little hesitant on trans rights, for example, tell them, you fight for trans rights because it is the right thing to do. We don't leave anyone behind, because the Republican Party isn't going to stop with just getting rid of trans people. They've already said their next goal is Obergefell. They're going to get rid of same-sex marriage. And again, the whole reason they're targeting libraries is so that way they have a legal justification to criminalize an entire group of people. We've seen how this plays out in history. I do not want it to play out like that again. We have to be willing to fight for something because it is the right thing to do, even if it's unpopular. Example there. So my wife, Isabel, she's Mexican. If I was still in a country that didn't have Loving v. Virginia, I would not have been allowed to marry my wife. And I know there are a lot of people here who are in that same boat. Loving v. Virginia, that was hugely unpopular at the time. It did not become a matter of public popularity until I think sometime in the late 1990s. The case was decided in the 1960s. So again, when you're on the right side of history, it's not necessarily the popular side at the time, but that's why we fight. So that way we can sway public opinion, we can shift people's opinion, and that's why we have to show up. Again, who showed up at the No Kings rally? Yeah, that's what I like to see. So how many of you had people be like, what are you doing out here? Like, this is, what do you think? Like, yes, we had a lot of those people in Huntington Beach, but we had even more people that came out and showed up, even though they'd never shown up to a protest before, because they understood this is what it takes. Now is the time that everyone has to stand up and get involved. And it doesn't matter what your involvement is. So I'm not asking you to necessarily do what I did, right? I'm asking my elected officials to do it because that's their job. But if you're, just looking to get involved, the easiest thing you can do, show up to your city council meetings, right? Just show up and be a part of the public process. See how your city operates, because a lot of cities, especially bad ones, operate under the assumption that no one cares. And if no one shows up, then they're right to think that, because no one does care. So we need to show up. If you can get involved in terms of canvassing, fantastic. I canvassed for the first time ever in my life. I didn't like it. I'm not really a canvassing person, but I did it because it needed to be done. And so that's another way that you can help. Phone banking, writing postcards, even being logistics, like giving supplies or snacks to people, or showing up at protests with water and you know, a medic kit. Like, those are all ways we can help each other and we can come together as a community, because we really do need to come together as a community. And it's not just a democratic community. We have to come together as an American community, because I'm not trying to sound trite when I say that, because before it was like, okay, yeah, left versus right, you know, we're going to argue about stuff. Now it's, do we want to be America or do we want to be something else? Because the Trump regime is trying to change us into something else. And I think there are a lot of Americans out there that do not want us to become something else. They want us to be America. And sorry, I should have delivered that one a little better. But and the reason why I say that is because even if we've never really achieved the American dream of equality for all, we've tried to. And I think that that is a dream worth attempting to achieve. And I know there are a lot of people that think that same way. So if you have Republican friends, people who aren't on the MAGA death cult train, talk to them, right? Ask them, is this the America you envision? Is masked police officers snatching people off the streets and taking them to places unknown, is that the America you envision? Right, no, it's not. Is riot police showing up and escalating peaceful protests into violent protests because they're trying to crack down and clear the streets? That's obviously, that's in America's history, but that's not the America I want to live in, and I don't think it's the America you want to live in or anyone else wants to live in. So we have to be able to come together. Like, we can get back to arguing about the budget later, right? Like, we can get back to arguing about our involvement in foreign affairs later. Right now, we have to come together as Americans and say, no more fascism, and no more dictators in the United States, and no more kings. All right, so I like to do Q&A for the vast majority of my speaking stuff, so then that way everyone can kind of get what you want out of this, as opposed to me just yammering at you the entire time. But before I get into Q&A, this will be very quick, because I know this is going to be one of the questions someone asks me, because they've asked me at every single Democratic Club I've spoken at. The question is, so Chris, are you going to run for something? And normally my answer is, I'm exploring my options, you know, trying to figure out where I will be most effective. However, I want to share with all of you, as the very first people to know, that yes, I will be running for State Assembly District 72. It's one of the Republicans here. And let me be clear, I don't really want to be a politician. It really seems like a miserable job, because you have to care about everything, because everything affects people in some way, right? Like, everyone is affected by politics, even if they don't realize it. And so the reason why I want to run for state assembly and run for that seat is because I know for a fact that if Gracie Vandermark is the Republican nomination, she is terrible, and she will be absolutely bad for California, just like she was absolutely bad for Huntington Beach. She was the architect behind our book banning committee. And yes, she's the one who came up with that. Like, that's Gracie's plan. She has treated Huntington Beach as her own personal little sort of photo opportunity, where she doesn't care about doing things that are good for Huntington Beach. She cares about what's going to get her on Fox News and what's going to get her in front of the camera. If she's a state assembly member, it's going to be more of the same. And we don't need politicians who are just looking to get in front of the camera. We need politicians who care about all the little details in their constituency and then work to make those problems go away. They work to create solutions to those problems. And they also work to create solutions for problems that we might not even be talking about right now. I mean, District 72 is a lot of coastal towns, right? Guess what's going to happen with climate change? There's going to be a lot of oceans rising, and we need to start addressing that now, because clearly we're not addressing climate change with the urgency it needs. So now we need to start thinking about mitigation. How are we going to protect our beaches? How are we going to protect our coastal communities? How are we going to protect ourselves against wildfires, like the one that just happened in LA? Because I mean, that's going to start happening more and more frequently. That's what happens in climate change. So we need legislators who are thinking about those things, not trying to create culture war battles. And we need legislators that understand that every person has the right to exist and the right to try and achieve happiness, no matter who they are, no matter what their gender identity is, no matter what their sexuality is, no matter what they look like. Everyone deserves the right to exist. Don't think that's hard to say. All right, so with all that being said, question time. Who would like to ask the first question, which is always the toughest question? Yes.
Okay, I'll take the,
Oh,
I'll take the microphone over there just so people.
well, we could probably yell.
Okay, all right, go ahead, yell.
Yeah, so one lesson that I learned from the NFL going into politics, and it's going to be a very immediate lesson, is that it's going to take a lot of hard work, and it's going to be a lot of grunt work, right? It's going to be running half-gassers for conditioning after practice. It's going to be doing the stupid little drills over and over and over and over so you build the muscle memory so you can perform at your best every time. And so to equate that to politics, that means going to Democratic Club meetings, right? Talking to people, having town halls, getting to know who those, sorry, was it? Yes, canvassing, exactly, knocking on doors. The stuff I hate. But so I hated running gassers too. Like, I don't think anyone likes running gassers, but yeah, no, it's definitely approaching it with the same mindset of, okay, there's going to be a lot of stuff that I need to learn, but my parents always told me, if you're going to do something, do it to the best of your ability. And I would not declare for public office if I wasn't going to do it to the best of my ability. Next question. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the way you reach uninvolved people is just talk with them, right? So like, and I know it can be difficult to talk politics, like especially with family members that aren't into politics, like my mom, for example. But we have to do it. We have to have those uncomfortable conversations, and it doesn't even have to be like, they don't have to be confrontational conversations. It's a very much a, hey, are you aware of what's happening, right? Did you see what happened with Senator Padilla, for example? You know, that he got arrested. That's the natural starting point into a conversation about ICE and whether or not they are being used effectively, whether or not they should exist. ICE didn't exist before 2002. The country ran fine for over 270 years before ICE got involved. So we need to have those conversations with other people. We need to help them become aware, and then we also can't fault them for not being aware, because a lot of people just want to be left alone, right? They want government to work, they want the water to be clean, they want a roof over their head, and they want food on the table. That's fine, like that's perfectly fine to want that, but we're at the point now where those people do need to understand that, hey, if you want to keep those things happening, you got to get involved. You got to start caring about just the smallest part, which is no more MAGA people in government, because we've seen what their plan is. It is not an American plan. Yes. Hmm. Right. Yep. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, no, that's a great question. And so what happened with me was, so I was initially arrested. They took me over to the jail. They booked me. It took them about 2.5 hours to actually charge me with something. So I'm not sure whether that was the city council saying, hey, you need to charge this guy with something, or if they were just backed up with no one else in the jail that night. But the detention officials said it should only take about an hour, but yeah, it took longer than that. But anyways, in terms of the actual consequences afterwards, they charged me with a criminal misdemeanor under section 403 of the California Penal Code, which is disturbing an assembly. Now, whether or not they can make that stick really depends on a lot of different factors. On, was the assembly actually disturbed? Did it break up? You know, did you show the intent to like willingly disturb this assembly? I am not a lawyer, so I highly recommend to consult with a lawyer first. I also cannot tell you to do that. So if you are planning on engaging in civil disobedience, make sure you know your rights, make sure that you have a plan, both for your family as well as legal representation, and then understand that yes, there will be consequences in terms of what happens after you get arrested. So for example, after I got arrested and then charged, I had a court date where, you know, I was supposed to appear in front of a judge. That got postponed because I guess there's so much protesting going on in Orange County right now that they had to move all the cases to the special prosecution unit because there's so many protesters out there getting arrested. My attorney, I ended up paying, I think, about $7,000, $7,500 in attorney's fees in order to hire both a criminal defense attorney and a First Amendment attorney, just in case the city decided to force the issue. My attorneys were able to make a pre-filing diversion deal, which means I have to do an 8-hour conflict resolution online course, which I've already done, 20 hours of community service, which I have 4 hours left on that. I've been volunteering at our local nature center, which has been a lot of fun, and then not get arrested for 6 months. So it's a pretty good deal. I'm not planning on getting arrested in the next 6 months. Hopefully I don't get arrested in the next 6 months, but you know, the way things are going, we'll see. But again, that's also, I have the resources to do that, right? Like I have the $7 grand to spend for attorneys, right? Like there are a lot of people who don't have those resources. It can also affect your job. I got fired from being a freshman football coach at Edison because of my protesting. And so, yeah, I'm talking with a First Amendment lawyer on that one too. So there will probably be something that comes of that. But yeah, all I can tell you is go have a truly honest conversation with yourself. Try to map out the worst case scenario, which is, okay, maybe I think it's the misdemeanor is punishable up to like 6 months in jail or something like that. But again, you'd really have to do something to make that stick. But again, that's the worst case scenario, right? You could lose your job, right? And so if you're planning on doing this, make sure that you're okay with those consequences. And if you are okay with those consequences, then do what you want. But you know, it's really have that honest conversation. And again, that also comes to people who are getting involved in protests, right? So for example, say if you are an undocumented person, or if you fear that ICE might pick you up, maybe protesting isn't the spot to be right now. Maybe find another spot to help, because the people who look like me, it's our turn to step up. Like we need to be the ones in the front. All right, hopefully that covered everything. I know it was a lot. Next question. Yeah. Yeah, so I chose radical resistance because I've been going to these Huntington Beach City Council meetings for about 2.5 years now, specifically like on the library issues as well as some other issues. And I saw that the city council wasn't listening to us. Like and you can see that if you go look at the Huntington Beach recorded videos of city council meetings. People have this kind of like resigned acceptance in their voices that they want to make public comment because they know it's important to be active in your community, but they know that the city council isn't going to listen. And so for me, it was a combination of, okay, well, I know the city council isn't going to listen, even though a ton of people don't want this MAGA plaque to go up, combined with, why aren't any of my elected officials doing anything on the national level? Because what we have happening in Huntington Beach really is a microcosm of what MAGA wants to do to our entire nation. They want to remake it in their image, and they want to kick out anyone that doesn't agree with exactly what they want to do. And so to me, I was a history and poli-sci major at UCLA. I'm like, I have seen this before. I have seen how we go against this. and how we go against it, right, is first we use our voices. Then when our voices don't work, then we have to start putting our bodies out there, right? We have to start occupying spaces. We have to start engaging in peaceful civil disobedience. We have to start marching on the streets and protesting. And then hopefully we stop it at that point, because if it continues, things start to get more and more violent. And I do not want things to get more and more violent. The longer you take to get rid of fascism, the harder it becomes and the more violence ensues. So that's why it's super important that we get people to show up at protests, because that way we can send a message, not just to the regime in charge, but to everyone else in the country that agrees with us that, hey, there are a lot more of us than there are of you. And we saw that at Huntington Beach this past weekend. Like, normally Huntington Beach protests are just right at the pier and then the 2 street corners opposite. There's maybe like 200-300 people there at most. This past weekend for the No Kings rallies, we had the little MAGA contingent, which is about 80 people right at the pier. And then we had people stretching from 1st Avenue all the way down to 7th, which is about half a mile. And I'm not gonna lie, the MAGA people looked a little nervous. They're like, hold up, there's all these people that don't like us and don't agree with us, and we put ourselves right in the middle of them. So thankfully things stayed peaceful, right? But that is why we need to show up, because a lot of these voices, they're just small, angry, loud voices. They don't really have the backing of the entire country, which again is also why Trump is doing what he's doing. He's trying to make us cower in fear with shock and awe, like, oh, deploy the Marines, send in the National Guard. But it really doesn't work unless you actually send them in and start shooting people. Like when we show up, if thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of people across the country, you just look like a petty little dictator, because that's what he is. So yeah, we've got to keep showing up. And as Janet said earlier, make sure you take breaks, right? This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. If you showed up to a protest and had fun, great. Recharge your batteries, get ready for the next one. Because one of the options on the table is going to be a general strike, which means we have to be ready for that. We have to be ready to shut everything down and say, we are not going to stand for this, we are not going to work, we are not going to contribute until things change. Because again, peaceful, nonviolent resistance, that's how you change things. Go ahead, Bubba.
Are you seeing the impact of Christian nationalism in Huntington Beach at all? Because we're starting to see these movies more and more about, and they're taking hold. And so I just wondered how much it impacted.
Yeah, so Christian nationalism is a huge problem in Huntington Beach. And the main driver there is Calvary Chapel of the Harbor, and then Calvary Chapel as a church overall. Most of the money that comes into the Huntington Beach City Council elections this past election cycle came from Calvary Chapel. It came from big donors outside the state. So it's an uphill battle in Huntington Beach because we're fighting against a lot of money and we're fighting against religious zealots. And I think people are starting to realize that even though the right wing says that they believe in the Bible, they obviously haven't read it, because if they did, they'd be acting in a complete 180 opposite direction. So yeah, Christian nationalism is a huge problem. Talia Levin, she's a great author. I would highly recommend checking out. I forget the name of her book at the moment. She wrote a really good book about 2 years ago, kind of on the rise of the religious right and how they're sort of like infiltrating our politics. We got to fight back. I mean, we can't have fundamentalists in government, no matter which religion they're from. That never ends well. So. Well, I mean, for me personally, I'm just like, just keep it to yourself. Like, if you want to be a small-minded jerk, fine, whatever, it's your life. Just don't use that on other people. And because again, as an American, we are a country of diverse opinions. We're a country of diverse people, and it's okay for people to believe different things. The problem is, you can't believe a different thing and then start forcing other people to believe it. And a lot of people don't understand that the First Amendment guarantees the freedom for religion, but it also guarantees the freedom from religion. Because if you want freedom to practice your religion, you have to give everyone else the freedom to practice theirs. And even those people who don't want to practice a religion. So we have to be able to live and let live. And again, if you're going to be a hateful, small-minded person, just keep it to yourself, please. Just don't take it out on other people. Yeah.
Yes, I was wondering if churches are supposed to be spiritual places, not part of politics.
Right.
When are we going to start pushing churches to give up their
tax exempt status? Yeah. That is a good thing that we should be asking our elected officials. Hey, so for example, in Huntington Beach, Calvary Chapel of the Harbor is clearly violating campaign finance laws, but no one's charged them yet. So we need our elected officials to actually start enforcing laws. This also, not just from a religious perspective, we need them to start enforcing laws against elected officials. Like, say, for example, Kristi Noem, or Pam Bondi, or any of the Trump morons that just keep breaking laws, and everyone's like, oh, but what if we charge them for something and their supporters get violent? Newsflash, their supporters are already violent. Like, they're not going to stop if you just let them keep doing what they want to do. They just take it as a sign that you agree with them. So we have to be a country of laws, but in order for us to be a country of laws, the law has to apply at the very top. If the law doesn't apply to the very top, then it doesn't apply to anyone, because then it's just a matter of how much power you have. So, yeah, good question. Anyone else? Don't be afraid to ask anything. Yeah. Not yet, but I will let you know. If you want, I'll probably put more news on my Blue Sky feed. So I'm at Chris Warcraft on Blue Sky. I literally just kind of started bringing everything together today. I had a good conversation with OC Dems, and like basically it's District 72 is going to be an uphill climb, right? Because it is traditionally a red-leaning district. But I grew up in Seal Beach. Like that's where I'm from. Like I live in Huntington Beach now, and I know there are a lot of small C conservatives there that do not like the direction the country is going. My dad's one of them. So it really, again, it comes down to: do we want to be my team or your team, or do we want to be Americans, right? Do we believe in the rule of law? Do we believe in the Constitution? Because that's the other thing that I think is really, really important to call out at every opportunity. The Republicans could stop this at any second. All they have to do is fulfill their oaths to the Constitution. Congress is there to keep a mad king in check, and they have decided they are not going to follow their oaths. And me personally, I believe an oath means something. Like, I think when you swear that you will uphold the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that actually means what it says. So we need to hold Republicans accountable for that, and then we have to get people to understand that if they're not doing their job, we need to get rid of them and find someone who will do their job. Otherwise, you're not living in America anymore. You're living in something else.
I want to look at some of the events that have happened today and ask if this is the beginning of preempting everything we've been talking about here tonight. Today, Donald Trump got on an airplane and flew back to Washington, and said along the way, started making comments like demanding a total surrender, unconditional surrender.
Oh yeah, of Iran. Yep.
And then Iran.
Yep.
And then started talking about he control the skies, not Israel control the skies. Be this, be that, etc. Given everything that you talked about and we heard today, what's the fastest way to change the dialogue completely and put all of that to bed?
Yeah.
And that is to create a national crisis that requires everyone to pull together.
Right.
Getting involved in an Israeli-Iranian war and becoming the protagonist in that war would be that step.
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. And historically, yes, that has been the case a lot of times. I mean, even recently that's been the case. The whole reason Netanyahu started this war is because he knew he was going to get arrested and charged with crimes for blackmail. Yes. So, yeah. So, again, like, there are legitimate American interests that we need to protect, but starting a war to draw attention away from the fact you're trying to be a fascist at home, that's not what America should be doing. And I think there are a lot of people who understand that that's not what America should be doing. But we need to talk to people about that, right? We need to say, hold up, if you were so against, Iran getting a nuclear weapon, why did you back out of the nuclear deal that we previously had? Right? This is a problem that you created through your own stupidity. So no, you don't get to just unilaterally declare war on Iran. Like, also, let's not forget that Congress is the one that decides whether or not we go to war with someone. Like, the president doesn't just decide, yes, go to war with that country. Like, that's not how our government works. That's laid out in the Constitution. That's not how our government works.
That created congressional response very quickly, and it was all Trump.
Yeah, so again, we need to talk to our elected officials. That's the other big thing we can do. Call to them, even if you think they're on the same page, even if you think they understand that they know what's going on. We have to call them, we have to talk with them, we have to hold them accountable. And it's not infighting to hold people accountable, okay? Like, I know there are a lot of people that are just like, oh no, you're going after Democrats, like you're infighting, you're breaking the party apart. It's like, well, no, I'm expecting them to do their job. And if they didn't do their job, then I'm going to hold them accountable for not doing their job. I mean, I played professional football, okay? If I didn't do my job, film study on Monday sucked. There were no words minced on, hey, you didn't do your job. So I don't think it's unreasonable to hold elected officials to the same standard as professional football players. One of those is more important than the other. Yeah.
And one of the things that I would love at this point would be for California to get an medical divorce.
Right? Yeah.
Does that ever come up when you have conversations with the people that you're trying to
I will.
Kathy is asking if there can be a friendly divorce, California to have a friendly divorce.
Yeah.
And she wants to know if the conversation ever comes up.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so that conversation has come up, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that's been having it. And so I'm of two minds on that. And the first mind is that no, California cannot divorce itself from the United States. Like, we can't consider secession to be a legitimate outcome, because I do believe in the United States of America. Like, even though we don't get along with each other half the time, like, we're still the United States of America. That being said, I think California can be an absolute leader of the United States of America, and we can try to do stuff that then shows the rest of the nation these things are possible, right? We are the 4th largest economy in the world. Like, we have so many resources, and we send so much of it to other states. So I know Gavin Newsom talked about withholding federal taxes, which, yes, absolutely, that should be on the table, because if you're not giving us our money back and then saying, oh, you're in budget crisis problems, we're going to send in the National Guard, again, that's a problem you created. Like, we made the money. Why can't we spend it on our stuff? But what I'm thinking about in terms of California being a leader is, you know, we've shown we can lead in the auto industry. California standards, that's the rest of the nation has to adopt California standards, because we have so many people driving cars, and then everyone else has to follow. That's also why the Trump administration is trying to gut California's automobile standards right now, because they don't want us to be leading the nation there. We could be leading the nation in terms of, why don't we roll out a universal basic income pilot? Why don't we try universal health care? We have the money to do it. And every study that's been done says that these things work. If we want to fix the homelessness problem, we don't jail homeless people, we have to build them houses. We have to give them jobs. Like, you can't imprison your way to a successful society. So yeah, that's where I think California really could start leading the way forward. And it's not even really a divorce, it's just, let us show you how to do things. And then you're going to see that we succeed in doing them, so you're going to have to follow us. So yeah.
Okay, we'll have one more question.
Okay. Yeah.
And I know that there are a lot of other things going on that are more scary.
Right.
But the administration is gutting higher education and funding for higher education. It's going to affect all of your children and grandchildren and their access to teachers, their access to teachers in Indiana and Ohio are 50% right now. That happens next week. So California
We could do it.
to protect universities out in our own state and maybe set some standards, because as we know, education.
Yep.
Critical thinking, get to who are educated and working, and voting, and support document students, financial degrees, so I just want to put that, I'm not your district, but I'm a political fan.
Okay.
So I just want to put that in
Yeah.
your ear.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. So, like, right now, if there's anything that we've learned from what Harvard and Columbia did, is that, like, you don't give an inch to this president. Like, if you do, he'll just keep coming. And so we should be doing kind of what, like, the Big Ten universities are doing and forming essentially a mutual aid pact, where if Trump tries to come after one of the UCs, he comes after all of them. And the UCs should be looking at, okay, how do we get some of those people into our state? You know, all those grants that got, you know, frozen or gotten rid of, how do we get those smart people into our state to keep building our economy? Because a lot of those universities, like the towns they reside in, that university is the economic driver for the town. Like that, having smart people in your town brings in a lot of money. It's because they build things and they do research and they come up with new ideas. So yeah, I absolutely think California, that's another way California could be a leader, where let's not let our brightest go to other countries, even though there's nothing wrong with going to another country. Like, that's what's best for you, that's what's best for you. But I would prefer to keep them here in the United States. Let's bring them to California. Like, let's make California, again, make California the leader in the United States, and then everyone else has no choice but to follow. Because if they really do push it, well, as I said earlier, guess what? We're the 4th largest economy in the world, and you can go fuck yourself.
Okay, thank you. Let's keep it up. Thank you, Chris Floyd, very much. Okay, so hopefully you've got fired up with not only enthusiasm, but with some particular things to do, whether you're going to write postcards, whether you're going to help canvass, all kinds of things going on, and we will see you back here a month from now, and we'll be adjourned. Please take any papers that are in your area so we can leave the place clean. Thank you very much. Good evening.